What is up, guys? Michael here from TYT YuGiOh, and today I thought I'd come at you guys with a quick discussion on the best Yu-Gi-Oh gear that I have found and that I personally use. I thought I'd make this video because I was doing a little bit of research earlier on in the past couple of weeks about what kind of gear I should be getting, because I was hoping to make some sort of investments, get some really nice accessories and products that I was going to use for a long time to come so that I didn't have to spend any more money on that kind of thing in the future. And I never came across any video or article or anything like that that really consolidated it all down and put together the best products across the board. There are things about, what are the best sleeves or what's the best deck box, but nothing that really combines and synthesizes all that information into one concise video. So I thought I'd put that out there. Without further ado, let's get started with the basics. First off, we're going to go over sleeves. Now, there are two avenues that you can go on for sleeves. The first avenue is the avenue of sort of casual or local play, and for that I would have to recommend Dragon Shield Glossy. In particular, two colors of the Dragon Shield Glossy. Here in front of me I have the teal. You can see they're, sorry, not teal, they are turquoise, Dragon Shield Turquoise. The other color is white. So the white and the turquoise Dragon Shield Glossies are made of a different material than the other ones. And this material is incredibly durable. It really resists grime and dirt. The only problem is that the shuffle feel is not great, and a lot of times the sort of top, especially on the teal ones, gets a little bit misshapen. But again, they really resist the grime and dirt. They're really tough. I've never ever had one split on me ever in my years of playing the game. And they really last for a long time. I've had these cards sleeved since this was a good deck, so that should tell you about how long these have lasted for me. And yeah, so the Dragon Shield Glossy is definitely the way you want to go if you want to sleeve your fun deck, something that you don't want to have re-sleeved in a little while. Especially if you're playing at locals consistently or something like that. Goat, I think, is a great deck to sleeve Dragon Shield Glossies in. Again, the two colors you want to go for are turquoise, which is what these are, and white, because those are made of a different material than the other Dragon Shield Glossies. Between the white and the turquoise, I actually do prefer the white. They do have a little bit of a problem with being miscut, but from what I understand, Dragon Shield is really good about replacing them for you if you indicate that you have a miscut product. Also, the Dragon Shield whites are a lot tighter fitting than the turquoise. That's a good and a bad thing. It's good because I feel like the card is much safer, or much more protected, I guess, in the Dragon Shield white. And also, on the other side of the coin, it is a little bit stressful sometimes to put flimsy cards in there. I know that during Necros format, I was sleeving some Ulti Veilers and Dragon Shield Whites, and I literally took like 2 minutes to sleeve each one because I was just that nervous about betting them, just very slowly sliding them in. So keep that in mind if you do go for the whites. Now, the other route you can go for sleeves are the sleeves that you're going to use for maybe one event or sort of a limited amount of time, whether you're going to a YCS or a regional or something like that. And for those, I might get a lot of hate for this, but I definitely would have to recommend Ultra Pro Pro Matte sleeves for the main deck. The shuffle feel on these right out of the pack is fantastic. Admittedly, they definitely collect a lot of dust, dirt, and grime rather quickly, and they don't last for too long. The split rate is okay, but I gotta say, right out of the pack, when they are clean, the shuffle feel is absolutely phenomenal. Now, the most popular sleeve for this sort of niche for, going for one event is probably Player's Choice. But for me, Player's Choice is dramatically too slippery and slick right out of the pack. And it really takes a few rounds before I can actually control my deck. A lot of times when I've had Player's Choice and I've tried to, shuffle my hand or something, my deck has gone absolutely everywhere. When my opponent cuts my deck, they've got to pick it up off their entire mat because it just goes spilling all over the place. It barely stands in a pile on its own. So I definitely prefer these Ultra Pro Pro Matte sleeves because they do grip a little bit, but again, they definitely will not last for more than a week or two. So they're definitely the sleeve to go for, in my opinion, if you're just going to sleeve your deck for one event. Moving on, let's talk about deck boxes. So the deck box that I've been using is this right here. It is the Dex Protection Duelist. It comes in a variety of colors. My favorite color palette is black and red, as you'll see by the rest of my gear here. But this is a great deck box. It's very sturdy. The exterior is made of Saffiano, which I don't really know what that is. I had to Google it. but it's sort of a crisscrossed, sort of slightly rough to the feel. It's not plastic, it's more like a very tough fabric. It's sort of hard to explain. Like I said, look it up if you don't know what Saffiano is. The inside is coated in this very nice sort of velvet, and the interior compartments where the deck is are also lined in that same velvet. That's going to keep the sleeves nice and clean for you. And I really like the double deck box design because I like to have my main deck in one side, my extra inside in the other, and it also has these removable compartments. So when you're actually playing in an event, you can have your side deck in this off to the side, and then you can put the larger deck box back in your backpack, and it takes up a very minimal amount of space on your table. So that's something I like a lot. It's also a little bit smaller overall than something like a tower deck box, like the Ultimate Guard Flippin' Tray, so it definitely saves space in your bag, which I really appreciate. Admittedly, the magnet is a little bit flimsy on this. If I shake this sort of upside down, the magnet does come off, but I mean, honestly, when was the last time you shook your deck box upside down? It's probably not going to happen. If you're putting it in your backpack, you're probably going to be putting it right side down and not shaking your backpack upside down, so I think that issue is negligible. The alternative in the deck box that I used for a long time before the Duelist deck box from Dex is the Monster double deck box. Now, I have had some problems with these. I've had the magnets come off, I've had the plastic start to strip away, I've had creases in the plastic. They're definitely less sturdy than the Dex Protection deck box, but again, I also like this design a lot. If we take out a compartment here and compare it to the Dex Protection deck box, you'll see that the Dex Protection compartment is dramatically tougher. I'm just going to squeeze with approximately equal force on both of them and see the flex there in the Monster one. It just makes me feel like my cards are a little bit less safe, so I definitely wouldn't be putting my expensive deck in here. I currently have like a minimum rarity goat in that Monster deck box in my actual deck that I'm going to be using at events in the Duelist deck box. But I did just want to point that out. If you have something cheap, if you're just looking for extra space to store cards, then I definitely would go for a Monster double deck box and not, it's one of the cheaper alternatives out there, because I think this is a great buy if you're looking for something, again, like extra storage space, or like I have minimum rarity goat, something cheap like that, because it is a lot smaller than the Duelist. As you can see here, sort of a side-by-side. I do appreciate the space-saving aspect of it, but again, it is a little flimsier than something like the Dex Duelist. Moving on, we have the binder here. This is also a Dex Protection product. This is the 9-pocket variety. They also have 4 and 12 pockets if you play, Magic the Gathering or something. The strap on this that loops around the back is very taut and thick, unlike the sort of Ultra Pro binders. Also, unlike the Ultra Pro binders, the cover here is a solid, sort of cardboard material. I shouldn't say cardboard. The exterior is the Saffiano, just like their deck box, and the inside, as you can see, is the same velvet, just like the deck box as well. But where it differs from something like an Ultra Pro or a Monster binder is, you can see as I hold it, it supports its own weight, and I really feel like my cards will have no chance to bend when they're in this. It has this weird little flap, but it's not like it detracts from the protection or anything. I guess technically it would add, but I don't know. I will admit that the only thing I do not like about this is that the plastic is a little bit flimsy, but since this is my personal collection binder, I definitely am not taking cards in and out of here a ton, since these are the cards that I'm keeping for myself. I definitely have a cheaper binder that I use for my trades. For trades, I would probably recommend a Monster binder, mostly because, to be honest, casuals for some reason have the mindset that Monster binders are like what the pro players use, so that might help you appear richer than you are if you're trying to trade or something like that. Moving on to the last item, this is a little bit contentious as well, but I use a calculator case and a calculator when I play. Obviously, you can use a pen and paper to track your life points, but for me, when I'm in the middle of an event, I'm in the heat of a duel, you could say, my math skills definitely go out the window when I'm focused on playing. So having a calculator really helps me, and honestly, I have never even like of all the events I've been to, all the locals, all the different locals I've gone to across different areas, it's never been a problem. And if you ever play someone who is trying to cheat you, realistically, no judge is going to give you a game loss or something if you use this stat feature on the calculator and have the incremental changes tracked. It's equivalent to a pen and paper, like, you know, again, like any reasonable judge is not going to be angry at you if you use a calculator. But that aside, I think a calculator case is a great thing to have. This one is the Game King calculator case. The exterior is not Saffiano, even though it looks kind of like the same material as the Dex protection gear, but it's a really thick, sort of mesh fabric material. It's sort of hard to demonstrate, but this zipper feels very sturdy. I'm really sort of tugging on this zipper. You can hear the nice zip as it opens and shuts. There's actually Velcro on the calculator itself. There's a little Velcro strip that you can attach so it stays in there. And again, this is a little hard to demonstrate, but the actual case itself is not just the material, but there's some kind of insert in there. I don't know what it is, might be cardboard or something, but it's thicker, it's padded, and it really actually does protect the calculator. There's also space for multiple pens, unlike some other ones. And this is also very affordable as well. It's $61 shipped to you from Game King's website. The final feature about this calculator case that other ones don't have is that it has, in the middle here, it's hard to see because I have black dice in there. It has this little Velcro compartment. You can hear the Velcro to store dice. It's sort of this little bag, and they pop out there. So I think a calculator case is really important. Not only can you store things like, you know, translations, tokens, pens, and dice in them, but again, I think having a calculator is very important for Yu-Gi-Oh! So I would definitely recommend a calculator case, and again, the Game King calculator case in particular. I lied, this is not the last thing. The second to last thing is dice. So I use ChessX dice. I think it's important to have good quality dice because there's something that you can use for a variety of games other than Yu-Gi-Oh! And you'll probably keep them for the rest of your life if you get good ones. I use ChessX dice because they're relatively cheap, they accomplish what I want them to do, but they still feel really good in your hand, they have some weight to them, and you can tell that they're not a cheap plastic. The problem with getting cheap dice is that they scuff, they look bad, and again, dice are something that you're really going to keep for really the rest of your life. So you want to make sure that you invest in a nice pair that looks nice, a color palette that you like, and that's going to last a while and won't scuff and get all gross over the course of your playing career. Now, the actual last thing I want to talk about real quick are playmats. I don't have too much to say about these. I can tell you that after having played on both rubber and cloth playmats, I absolutely prefer the cloth playmats. It keeps your sleeves cleaner longer, which means in the long run you'll save money on sleeves. And also, investing into a cloth playmat really is much easier for you on your wallet in the long run. Now, follow me here really quickly. If you've seen my Why You Should Always Buy Max Priority Cards video, this follows the same logic as that. But essentially, cloth playmats are much easier to sell and retain their value much more than a rubber mat. So let's say you buy this salt and pepper spellground right here for about $100. Whenever you want to quit Yu-Gi-Oh, when you want to sell your stuff down the line, you can then sell this mat for $100 almost, or really what you bought it for. But if you buy a rubber playmat, you know, whether it be a custom one, a Konami one, or whatever, only certain Konami rubber playmats have that same like value factor where you can sell them, or you know, they retain value or appreciate in value over time. But almost all cloth mats do have that factor. So those are sort of the reasons why I would definitely recommend a cloth playmat. I obviously play on this Salt and Pepper Spellground, but I have played on or sort of sampled the Gem, Ophidian, Meta mats and stuff like that, and those are all great. It really just depends on what design you like, what colors you like. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you guys who've been trying to look and find the right gear for you. This is Michael from TYT YuGiOh, and I'll catch you guys next time.